You read the title, so I'm not going to waste your time. Let's get straight into this video. How I built systems that got me jacked and changed my life for the better. Don't mind me looking like a terrorist right now. It's cold in my house. All right. So a few years ago, specifically freshman, sophomore year in college, I was an overweight, fat MFer. Unmotivated, didn't know where I wanted to go in life. I knew I wanted to be successful, but didn't know how I was going to do it, like many people. Today, I am one of the most disciplined people I know personally, and that didn't happen by accident. It wasn't motivation, it wasn't luck, it was systems that I built in my life got me here. Systems created consistency, and consistency is the only thing that matters for achieving your goals and getting to where you want to be in your life. So in this presentation, we're going to go over how I built those systems and how you can apply them in your own life, no matter what you want to do. So the very first thing you need to do when thinking about building systems in your life and trying to achieve your goals is writing down your goals, because clarity is what breeds action. So we've all heard that, right? Oh, people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. But it's true. I promise you, every billionaire that wasn't by chance or some porn star wrote down their goals to get there. Every jack dude had a plan and goals that they wanted to reach in order to get jacked. You know, it could have started out simple. Oh, I want to get a six pack. And as they dive into it more, they get their goals of, oh, I want to do this. And if you write it down, it consistently reminds you of these goals and it brings more clarity to these goals. So I put a picture of a boat here and gave my analogy. Imagine you're a boat and you're in Florida and you're trying to get to Australia. If you just hop in your boat and you're like, all right, let's go. Don't plan out anything. Don't look at the winds. Don't look at your route, whatever. In all honesty, you're probably not going to make it to Australia. You're probably going to be shipwrecked somewhere. You're going to die. And even if you do somehow make it to Australia, it's going to be by pure luck. And it's going to take you years to get there when it could have been much faster if you planned out your route, if you looked at the winds, if you brought all the shit you needed. If you knew exactly what you were going to do, you could get there in a couple days or like a month. I don't know how long it would take to sail to Australia, but you get the point. It would be 10 times faster, 10 times more efficient, and honestly, at the end of the day, less work, because you know the exact work you need to do. You're not doing all this frou-frou shit that you don't really need to do to achieve your goals. So step one is write down your goals. And I don't care how out there they are, just write them down. Write down your goals for when you're 25, 35, 55, 105. Write them all down for your entire life with time ranges. So by this time, I want this. By this time, I want this. Whatever. Then from there, I like to break down my goals in this specific order. So even with my big, lofty life goals that are goals of mine for when I'm like 60, 70, end of life, whatever. Not saying that 60 and 70 is the end of your life, but you get what I'm saying. For my entire life, I really can break down those goals. I'm not saying I break down every goal by every single year. That's not what I'm saying. But I do break them down in a 5-year span. So I have this isn't my goal. Let's say my goal is to be a billionaire. I'm not going to break down my goal for every single year. I need to be doing this, and that. But I will break it down roughly in my head like, okay, if I want to be a billionaire in the next 5 years, I need to do these things. And from that, I'll take one yearly goal that's going to drive me to the 5-year goal, let's say, if that makes sense. So for this example, let's say your ultimate life goal is to be jacked. Well, this year you want to get pretty lean, pretty muscular. Maybe not your dream physique, but you want to get a substantial amount of progress. So your yearly goal is to get a muscular body. I write this down at the very top, right? 2025, semicolon, get jacked, let's say. Then I will write out January, February, March, April, May, June, so on. And under every single one, little line, and do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 for every single month. The reason for this is because you're going to have 3 goals for every single month. So for this example, I just wrote down one goal, but it'd be like your yearly goal, get jacked. January's goal, lose 5 pounds of fat. And then run a 10-minute mile. Let's say those are your 2 goals out of the 3 for January. February, it could be lose 4 pounds, but run a 9-minute mile. These are all things that are going to ultimately push you towards that big yearly goal. And then as you enter these months, so let's say we're in April right now, every single week, at the beginning of the week, you're going to review your week ahead of time, plan out your week ahead of time, and think, what are going to be my goals for this week that are going to push me towards that monthly goal? And that monthly goal, as you achieve those, are going to push you towards your yearly goals. So for this example, if you want to lose 5 pounds of fat this month, that is your number one ultimate goal for April. Well, your weekly goal this week needs to be train 4 times and hit your nutrition targets every single day. Hit your macros every single day. Even on Saturday, even on Friday night, hit them every day. That's your weekly goal. And this is all being written out every single week. I'm writing out 3 weekly goals that are going to push me towards my 3 monthly goals that are going to push me towards my 1 yearly goal. When you break it down like this, it makes your yearly goal more attainable. Because yes, I feel like most people have written down their goals before. Their yearly goals, their big life goals. But it's like, they're so big sometimes, it's just unmotivating because it's so unattainable. Where if you break it down the monthly, weekly, daily, then it becomes really, really attainable because you have these small, actionable steps that are going to push you towards these yearly goals. So then once you have the weekly goal of train 4 times, hit nutrition targets, then it's like, all right, Monday, here we go. I'm going to write my goals for the day that are going to push me towards my weekly goals. So how can I come closer to my weekly goals for today? Well, today I can hit one of the workouts out of the 4 for this week, and I can go ahead and meal prep so that I know, hey, if I want to hit my nutrition targets, all I need to do is pull this out of the fridge and heat it up. So to break this down, I know I've been talking about this for a minute now, but find a yearly goal. Write out 3 monthly goals for every single month that are going to push you towards that yearly goal, or 3 or 5 yearly goals. I want to go above 5 yearly goals because then it's just, you're going in too many directions. I like to do 3 or 4. You can do 5, but I would do 5 max. So every month you have 3 goals that are going to push you towards these yearly goals. Then every single week, I like to do it on Sunday night, I plan out my week ahead of time and say, these are my 3 goals for the week. Then on Monday morning, when I wake up, I look at that sheet. I have another sheet, and I write out Monday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And that's going to definitely get me to be able to check off one of the goals for the week. So I need to quit talking about this. Move on to the next thing. Last thing I'll say about how to write effective goals. This is the 3rd out of 3 things. You need to write input goals instead of output goals. So an example I like to use for this is a day trader. It's extremely hard for a day trader to write output goals because essentially your job is taking educated risk, right? So you don't know that day if you're going to make 2x your money, 10x your money, 5x your money, or lose 3x your money, or lose 5x your money. You don't know. You can take educated risk, but you don't know for 100%. And it's the same thing with goals. I can say the goal of, oh, I want to make 500K this year, but I don't know for certain what's going to happen because I don't have control over that. What I do have control over is how much work I put into a business, how much work I put in at work. Or I can't control if I put on 50 pounds of muscle this year. But what I can control is going to the gym 5 times a week. What I can control is hitting up my macros today. What I can control is meal prepping for this week. So you see how these input goals are far more attainable and they're just more certain than output goals. So when you write out your goals, try to write them out as input goals instead of output goals. So if you want to be rich, well, your goal should be X amount of hours worked on this business. Or if you want to get jacked, it should be this example right here. This week, for your weekly goals, I'm hitting the gym 4 times this week, and I'm going to hit 150 grams of protein every single day. The last line really sums this up well. It's focus on what you can control, and inputs lead to outputs. And you can control the inputs. You can't control the outputs, but you can control the inputs. So focus on what you can control. Chapter 2, how to build these systems around your goals. So now we know this is where I want to go. What's going to be the vehicle to take me there? And that's going to be systems. So I'm going to get into the next slide, and the slides following that are going to be actually how to build the systems. But when you're building these systems, the number one thing I want you to keep in your mind, this is the foundation for building all systems. It's the bottom, where's my mouse? It's the bottom of this pyramid. It's keep it simple. Keeping it simple leads to sustainability. And sustainability is the only thing that matters for achieving your goals. The equation in my mind for achieving your goals is consistency plus time equals achieved goals. And if you aren't sustainable, you're not going to be consistent over a long period of time. So for me, the best way for myself to stay sustainable is to keep it simple. And that's even with meal prepping. All my meals are simple. They're usually like a carb, like rice or potatoes, protein, like beef, and then like one topping. And does it taste as good as some meal that took me 7 hours to make in meal prep? No, but it's simple, it's easy for me to put down, and it's consistent is what it is, and that's all that matters. When you overcomplicate things, for example, making a 7-hour long meal prep, that is going to kill your sustainability. So with that being said, let's figure out how to actually build these systems. So when you're building these systems, what I want you to think about is your own life, right? Whether you realize it or not, you've been disciplined in your life before. So think about the times that you have been disciplined in your life. Was it with school? No one feels like going to class. No one feels like doing work, schoolwork, that's just busy work from your math teacher. No one wants to do that. But you still showed up every single day, and some of you got really good grades. Some of you went to good colleges. Well, why are you so disciplined with going to school? Was it the external accountability? Was it the consequences? Right? So maybe you liked seeing good grades. Maybe you were scared of the disciplinary action from your principal and your parents if you didn't show up or get good grades. Maybe it was a reputation thing. Maybe you liked having peers around that gave you reputation and made you popular or whatever. Well, now we know this is why you were so disciplined about going to school. How can we implement this in our own systems in our life now? Well, disciplinary action. Let's add consequences for skipping a workout. So have a workout buddy that you go to the gym with however many days of the week. And if you don't show up, you have to Venmo him $20. Make it a deal. Be like, dude, I'm trying to stay consistent. This is what I want to do. If I don't show up, I have to pay you $20. And request me on Venmo. I don't care what excuse I give you. I don't care if I just broke my leg. I have to Venmo you $20. And that will add up really quick if you start skipping the gym. Or you could do public accountability when it comes to your reputation. If you start posting about your stuff in a group chat or on social media and then you quit, you're going to look like a quitter. Everyone's going to think you look stupid if you stop. So that's another way, posting online. Or if you like the external accountability, you could have a coach or a mentor that pushes you and someone that expects you to show up. Another example. Some of you are nerds. Some of you love Fortnite, Overwatch, COD, GTA, whatever. And you could hop online every single night without fail. Why is that? Maybe you like the instant feedback. Maybe you like the fun, the social connection you get when hopping on with friends or other people. Maybe you like how easy it was to start. You just mindlessly could turn it on and just start doing something. Well, let's do this in our systems in our life. If you like the zero friction to start, let's eliminate barriers. So having your gym bag pre-packed, pre-logging your meals, short workouts on busy days so that it's just easier to start. Maybe some of you like the competition, the game aspect of it. Go for PRs. Compete with your friends for the first one to like 225 bench press or whatever. Or join a CrossFit gym. That's literally all CrossFit is. You're in teams and you compete against others. Maybe you like the fun of it, the instant feedback, the dopamine of it. Well, you can make a reward loop. So you go hit the gym, or right after you get to watch a Netflix show. If you don't hit the gym, you can't go watch a Netflix show. So this makes it so that you get a reward every single time that you go to the gym. You're getting a little bit of dopamine, you're getting some feedback kind of instantly, and it's fun. Or maybe some of you were more artsy-fartsy, and you were consistent with your hobbies like guitar or art or whatever. Why was that? Maybe you like the structure of going to your teacher's appointment right after school, so you had to go to guitar teaching lessons or whatever. Maybe you like the community of being in an art class or whatever. Or maybe you like the visible progress that you could see instantaneously. Well, how can we put this in our systems? If you like the structure, block off time to do things and make it non-negotiable appointments. And we'll get into that in a second. Maybe you like the community of being in an art class. This kind of goes with the gaming thing. Join a community. Find a gym crew. Bring a friend to the gym. Join fitness clubs like CrossFit is great if you love team aspects and competition. Join clubs. Join classes at your gym. A lot of big commercial gyms like Crunch or LA Fitness or whatever have classes you can join. Or maybe you liked the visible progress that you can make, like guitar, like you within a week know like 3 or 4 songs if you're consistent with it. So with that, track your progress. Track your weight every morning. Track your lifting numbers. Do a habit streak. Take photos of your physique. Watch it change over time. What I'm trying to get at with all this is think back on your life where you were consistent without even really trying. And think, what deeper reason made me so consistent with this thing? And then once you know that reason, whether it's external accountability, whether it was just social connection, whether it was just easy to start, whatever it may be, apply that to every single system that you are going to create for your life. So now I wanted to give you my favorite systems just for inspiration for you to create your own. Because unless I'm coaching you one-on-one, I can't figure out your specific schedule and your life and what you want to do, what your goals are. So you got to be able to make these for your own self. So I like to give you some examples so you can kind of base yours off of mine, and also maybe it'll just give you an idea for a whole new system that'll work for you. So the first one, it kind of goes back with what I was saying earlier about the 3 weekly goals, the 333 method. This is something I coined that's really simple and easy to understand. Every single day, you can do this in the morning when you wake up. Write out your 3 weekly goals. So let's say hit 150 grams of protein every day, 4 workouts this week, and read 10 pages of a book every night. That's your 3 weekly goals that are going to push you towards monthly goals, and those monthly goals are going to push you towards yearly goals. So we're going to write those out every single day, and that's going to drill it into our brain. Hey, we got to get this done. You see it every day, you write it out every day. Then, once you have those weekly goals written out, you're going to write out a 3-step morning routine. So, and 3-step max. Too many people want to journal, cold shower, meditate, workout, sauna, red light therapy, magnesium shit, whatever. You're just putting more fluff between you and the work. It's just really procrastination at the end of the day. 3 steps is all you need. You don't need any more than that. When you wake up, write this out. You're going to write out, for this example, I did workout, journal, and a hot to cold shower. Because remember, we want to make this simple to start. So we're not going to just do a cold shower. Call me a bitch. I don't care. We're going to start with a hot shower that's easy to get into, and then at the end of it, turn it cold for like 5 minutes if you're really serious about doing cold showers every day. Because that is what is sustainable. Honestly, you could go as far as to say, make all your systems something a weak little wuss could do. Because that's what's going to make it sustainable. And sustainability is the only thing that matters, because that's what leads to consistency over a long period of time, gives you your goals. So, back to this. Sorry, I got a little distracted. You have 3-step morning routine. So workout, journal, hot to cold shower. And then under that, write out your 3 actions for that day that are like your 3 daily goals that are going to push you towards your 3 weekly goals. So now that you have all this written out, just execute it. So you write out your 3 weekly goals, you remember those, you're going to do them. Go execute your 3-step morning routine, and then once you're done with that, look at your 3 daily actions and figure out how you're going to do them today. The 333 method. Next, Google Calendar Mastery or schedule planning. I love this one. I personally like Google Calendar Mastery, but if you want to use a physical notebook, or you're just more old school, or you want something really, really simple, you can do schedule planning. So I'll explain both. Google Calendar Mastery. You're going to go in Google Calendars, like how it is over here in this picture, and you're just going to time block your entire day, every single day, just like so. Make time for your workouts. Make time for making your meals or meal prepping. Make time for work. Make time for fun, relaxing. Time block literally everything in your life. Then Once you have that set up, put Google Calendars, I did it on my desktop, then put Google Calendars on your phone and add a widget and notifications. So now it happens all the time. Where's my phone? You can see right here. You can't really see it, but there's a notification for building and shooting this video. So I built this presentation and now I'm shooting the video, and it's from 7 to 9 is building this and editing this and all that. That keeps you always on task and you always know what to do next. Plus the widget will be on your home screen, and so you always see what's coming up next, and it's just another reminder, hey, you got shit to do. You're in this time block, do it now. Now, if you're a little more old school, schedule planning, I talk about this one, I feel like in every video I make. But plan your day hour by hour roughly. Under that, sorry, let's back up. Write out your schedule hour by hour, your real schedule. Be brutally honest with how your schedule looks. Then under that, write out the top 3 things you want to get done for that day. So workout, presentation, spend time with your kids, whatever. Then you're going to go back into your already written schedule and look at the areas where you can add those things in. So I can work out before work, I got time for kids after I eat, and then I can finish up my presentation on lunch. Now that you have that schedule, and you can alter a little bit to make your schedule better for yourself. Now that you have that schedule, as you go through your day, just cross things off. So I took a shower and now I'm eating. Boom. That's 2 things crossed off. I got my workout done and now I'm about to do my presentation on lunch. So I'll do my presentation on lunch, boom, cross it out, onto the next thing. And do that every single day. That really helps kill procrastination because you always know what to do next, and it just helps you always stay on track. A rewarded daily minimum. So this is a big one if you are a beginner because it really helps rewire how your brain works. So set a minimum bar for your day. So for me, it's always work for at least 1 hour on work outside my actual job. Get some sunlight, 15 minutes in my day. So get outside for 15 minutes. Get a workout in of some sort. It doesn't have to be actual weightlifting. It could be playing basketball for all I care. And then eat healthy every single day. That's my daily minimum. And if I do that, then I can reward myself with maybe some downtime, or maybe I get to go watch a movie, or maybe I get to go hang out with this person or whatever. That's my reward. If I don't hit it, I have to do something productive that I don't really want to do. Clean, or read a book, or no phone and, I don't know, knock out homework if I was still in school, or do some shit for my job, right? Stuff that's still going to progress me forward, but it's just not as fun. This helps rewire your brain, right? Reward good behavior, punish bad behavior. Too many of your brains are rotted by TikTok and Fortnite, so this helps rewire it to do the right things. That is all for this video. I love this quote by James Clear, who writes Atomic Habits, which is where I get a lot of my inspiration from. I recommend you read it too. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Because everyone likes to think that they would just be a spectacular person every single day, but that's where that daily minimum kind of comes in. You're going to have shit days. You're going to have days where you don't want to do anything. But if you have systems in your place like a daily minimum, then you can still progress forward every single day, and that's what really adds up. So this applies for anything you want to do in life. You want to get jacked? Build systems. You want to build a business? Build systems. You want to stop being average in something? Build systems. Discipline is something that everyone wants. I don't care who you are. Everyone wants to be disciplined. But it's not magic. It's not a trick. It's just built brick by brick, by system by system. So I hope this video helped you. If you liked it, subscribe, leave a dislike, and I appreciate all almost 80 subscribers of you. I'll see you on the next one.